Okay, same day, same clothes, second half of Acts 19.
Chapter
So-
23,
Starting on chapter 23, it says
verse 23.
riots in Ephesus. About that time, there arose a great disturbance about the way. A silversmith named Demarius, who made silver shrines of Artemis. Now, I bet you in your Bible it has Diana.
No, it says Artemis.
Okay, well, that ain't King James, so. King James is Diana.
Okay.
And some of the other things is Diana.
Okay.
Well, when I started going through the commentaries, it said Diana, and I think, wait a minute, Artemis is what I.
So it's the
That's a
same.
matter of interpretation, I think. The King James was interpreted several hundred years ago, and the New International and some of the others are just in the last 20 or 30 years redone. So
It says the goddess of the temple of the goddess Artemis.
yeah, and I think when he was making shrines, they said that was probably like a jewelry box type of thing, where a statue of Artemis might have been inside of it. And brought a lot of business for the craftsmen there. He called them together along with the workers and related trades and said, "You know, my friends, that we receive good income from this business, and you see and hear how this fellow Paul has convinced and led astray large numbers of people here in Ephesus and in practically the whole province of Asia. He said the gods made by human hands are no gods at all. There is danger not only that our trade will lose its good name, but also that the temple of the great goddess of Artemis, yeah, thank you. I come up on it and been saying it all along, and then I couldn't spit it out. Will be discredited, and the goddess herself, who is worshipped throughout the province of Asia and the world, will be robbed of her divine majesty. But these guys really ain't worried about the bottom part there. They're worried about the money they can make.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing today. If they said all at once, well, all these businesses can't be open on Sunday. When I was growing up, there wasn't nothing open on Sunday. In Indiana, you wasn't even allowed to shoot a gun on Sunday. So, has the world changed a little bit? But that it's all a money thing. Mm-hmm. When they heard this, they were furious and began shouting, "Great is Artemis the Ephesian, of the Ephesians." Soon the whole city was in an uproar. People seized Augustus and whatever his name is, Paul's traveling companions from Macedonia, and all of them rushed into the theater together. And this is an area where they, I would say that when you go to court, what do they have to do first if it's a criminal offense? You've got to go. I can't think of the word right now. I had it earlier.
Arraignment?
Well, there's arraignment, yeah, but it'd be sort of like that, but they have a jury and people there, but it ain't the actual trial. It's where it's worthy of going to trial. And I think that's kind of what this is. This is where you
like
take.
The grand jury?
Yeah, a grand jury. I think that's kind of what this is. So, Paul wanted to appear before the crowd, but the disciples would not let him. Even some of the officials of the province, friends of Paul, sent him a message begging him not to venture into the theater. So this was just a spot where they done stuff like this, they brought it in front of the people who are in charge. The assembly was in confusion. Some of them were shouting things, others, some other things. Most of the people did not even know why they were there. Do we know that happens today with these crowds? You know, they'll be having these riots and they'll go out there and ask, well, what are you doing? Well, you know, they don't really know what they're doing there. They're just, you know, in the bigger cities, it's a thing where all your bad guys can get out there, and then they start rioting and breaking windows and stealing stuff out of stores, and that gives them an opportunity to do something different while these people are rioting. That's why they didn't even like it back then. The Jews in the crowd pushed Alexander to the front, and they shouted instructions to him. He motioned for silence in the order to make them okay. He motioned for silence in order to make the defense for the people. But when they recognized he was a Jew, they shouted in unison for about 2 hours, "Great is Artemis the Ephesian." And we've seen that in colleges too, you know.
Yes.
They'll have a conservative speaker come up there, and all the kids will out there, they'll just keep chanting so they can't speak, you know. It's, you'd think in college they would be smarter than that, but if they were so smart and they didn't agree with the guy, then they could just tear him to pieces
Right,
on when they
Or don't
start
go.
asking questions.
Or don't go.
Yeah, or don't go, you know, but this is a great thing on, even today, they do the same thing. So, the city clerk, which they said in the commentaries was a scribe, quieted the crowd and said, "Fellow Ephesians, doesn't all the world know that the city of Ephesus is the guardian of the temple of the great what is it again?
Artemis.
Artemis, and of her image, which fell from heaven." And I think this was like a stone that was there that was different. They said it was black and shaped kind of in the shape of a cone, and they thought it fell from it. Might have been a meteor or something. I don't know. Therefore, since these facts are undeniable, you ought to calm down and do not do anything rash. You have brought these men here, though they have neither robbed temples nor blasphemed your God. If then Darmus and his fellow craftsmen have a grievance against anybody, the courts are open and there are proconsuls. They can press charges if there's any further you want to bring up. It must be settled in a legal assembly. As it is, we are in danger of being charged with rioting because of what has happened today. In that case, we would not be able to account for this commotion, since there is no reason for it. After he had said this, he dismissed the assembly. So they just had to have one person there that they would listen to, and it fixed everything, you know. And sometimes that's all it'll take today, but nobody wants to listen. There was something else I was going to bring up, but I can't think of it, so